Hello there, you're watching WilhelMiniatures. In this episode I will continue working on my Turnip Troll for Turnip 28. So it's been a few days since the last time I worked on this one, and yeah, what we did last time, or what I did previously, was adding some texture here and there. I am not at all finished adding textures, but I think this is a good start. A couple of days ago I was out hiking and I found this nice looking root which I think I can use. Of course it's a little bit brittle, so yeah, it won't be super durable, so I'll see if I can support it in some way. And I also have a bunch of this. So yeah, this is a type of fungus called Alectoria. I'm not sure if it's easy to get where you live, but in the woods in Norway it usually hangs from old gnarly trees, so here it's quite easy to get it. And first I think I just want to trim it down a little bit and remove the tiny root pieces. They look quite nice, but instead I will add them back onto it later, because this is very brittle, as you can see. So instead of using this, I think I'm going to use the Alectoria for the same purpose, because this is this just crumbles. Instead I can just get the same effect using something else. This one is too big, and also I think too spread out. So what I might be able to do is to just make it into a more tree-like structure by just snipping off some of the twigs and glue them together in a different shape. So the problem with supergluing this is that I might just get glue on the dirt or bark that's surrounding this. So once this is in the shape I want it, I need to seal the entire thing with PVA glue. So getting this in place, I probably should pin it. But I am tempted to only use superglue because I am very lazy when it comes to pinning. But I think actually in this case, pinning is the way to go. I really dislike pinning stuff, as it's a lot of work and a piece you will never see because it's something inside of your miniature. I'm much more fond of just slapping superglue on it and hope for the best. Then I'm just grabbing a piece of wire and sticking it on there. Like this, maybe? Yes, that works. A lot of glue. Nice. That really gave it that turnip vibe, I think. Now it's a little big for my setup though, so I have these leftover parts and I might just glue them on to act like thick roots. So it looks a bit like it's growing, not like from the inside, but on top of the troll. Is it too tall? I can't really decide. Yes, I think it's too tall, because this miniature is so, big and burly. So I think I'm going to trim it down. So the tree is looking quite good, but as you can see around here, in the seams between, for example, the roots and the stem, and it's not clean, so I need to fill these areas with something. And first I thought about using green stuff, but I am a little bit lazy, so instead I will use the same mix that I used for my ruin sculptures, or the ruin conversions that I made for the Alice Madness Returns episode. And that was just plaster with white glue and a little bit of paint. So I'm going to replicate that mix. As I mixed way too much the last time, I thought, oh, if I use a shot glass instead, I will not mix as much, but it already looks like I'm going to mix way more than I need. So yeah, we'll see. The last time I used water too, but this time I think I'm just going to use glue and paint, because I want it to be thick enough to stay where I put it. This is definitely not thicker than what I used last time, so yeah. Anyway, I think it'll work. Alright, I think that's good. Now I have, of course, way too much of this, so I think I'm just going to stipple it around here and there just to create some yeah, some texture. You know what, I'm even going to make a texture paste with, yeah, I'll put the rest of the roots in as well. Just put them in there and try to make something. So yeah, I'm going to texture this one in layers, as I said, but now it looks like I'm going to cover all the texture I've already done, so yeah, need to be a little careful. Right now this just looks super messy, so hopefully it will look better when I prime it. It often helps to see everything in one single color. A lot of the turnip miniatures have this nice looking, yeah, kind of texture on their back, which is just static grass placed there, which looks a little bit like an organic fur coat. So I thought I could try to replicate that by mixing some, yeah, just putting some static grass into my mix and then continue with this madness. Maybe I can put some of it on the tree as well. Or a bird's nest in the middle here. Maybe I should put some eggs in there as well. Maybe I can make this into a bird nest as well if I rotate it. So the texture is still not exactly the way I want it. I still need to fill some of the sharp lines here and there and make it look more natural. So for that I will be using my mix of Mod Podge and garden dirt, because that's yeah, a thicker mix than what I just used, so it's easier to apply it on the ends of the roots, for example, to blend them into the body and the texture. Now that everything is really messy, I might as well just make it even more textured by applying some of these vine looking things that I just showed you. Let's see, I think the best way to apply them would be, yeah, kind of having them hanging down over the body of the creature. So if I just put them down here with my finger and have them hanging down, I think that would look cool. And to have it secured in place, I think I can use some Mod Podge and water. Just first securing it on the top here, and then, yeah, trying to lay it down. Oh, this looks cool. This is a very nice pattern that I'm going to get here. I mean, I'm having a lot of fun right now applying all of these different crazy textures, but in the end I might have gone over the top, because this will just look like a swamp thing in the end, just a big mess of vines and dirt. But again, I think that fits the Turnip 28 spirit. And it's going to be a lot of fun to dry brush, at least. I just covered the tree with some watered down PVA glue to seal it in place, because I hadn't done that before adding the texture. And while I was at it, I also did an extra layer on all the vines to make sure that they are, yes, completely secured when it dries. It's not much left to do on this one, but I made this bird's nest, so I want to apply some eggs. And for that, I will use some of these silica gel balls, which you can find in like any cardboard boxes, for example, for clothing or shoe boxes, I think. And that's a bunch of these little silica balls, which are either perfectly circular or they can have these egg shapes. And I also think they are a good size for this nest. Starting with the one I found here first, which was almost a perfect egg shape. Of course, if you don't have these silica balls, it's very easy to replicate this shape using some green stuff or milliput or something. I think I want to blend the pieces a little better together, especially around here. It's difficult for me to tell how good the transition is when it's two different colors of the material, so I don't know how sharp the transition is right here. So for that I will add some liquid green stuff to this monster. So I think stippling this around where I have transitions, and maybe just around where I have the texture and on the skin as well, just to see if everything has a texture that I like. Mostly it was to give it another color so that it's easier to see on video. I actually just received some resin dye in the mail, some black dye, so in the future you will no longer see these white casts. That's absolutely impossible to film. Instead you will have these nice gray ones. So the next time I use one of my own sculpts in the video, it's going to look much better. By the way, these Cthulhu statues are for sale on my Etsy. So yeah, go get them while they're gettable. I think this is where I will leave this episode. I have some more things I want to do. One thing is of course making some sort of bird that can be either its friend on a separate base or have a bird in the tree. That would be very cool. But it needs to be a bird big enough to lay eggs like this. So it will probably be some kind of monster bird. I was also thinking about having a weapon, but I'm not sure about that. I can still drill a hole and give it some sort of club, maybe a mace, maybe some chains or something. I don't know. We'll see. And one more thing I was thinking is maybe having some feathers or plumes on top of the helmets. That would be very cool. It would even be very nice to use some real feathers to create this effect. I will continue working on this project very soon, and I will see you all then. Goodbye.